Hello everybody, this is Ordaehn bringing you a one-on-one here on Kulas Ravine. This is the fourth game of the series, and this is a relatively long game. It's probably going to span across 3 videos. It's over 25 minutes. So that is a product both of my passive playstyle, and this is a large map. It seems very small, but given that it's spread out so much, it can be become a very difficult map sometimes to deal with. So we'll get started here. Probably going to keep a little quiet. I'm drinking my coffee, and it is delicious. So, been less natural for me to send my scout over to an enemy's base, especially when it's a Protoss. Terran a little more often, actually, because I want to know if I'm getting rushed by something. But it's so far to go, I'm not really worried about getting a scout super early. Most Protoss players, especially on this map or other larger maps, like to go for the Stalkers first. Won't do a whole lot of good to try to rush with Zealots here because it's so far. Even from the midpoint where you get that first Zelnaga watchtower, it's such a long distance to try to get a scout on somebody that won't do a lot of good. So there goes the drone to get that scout. You got that Overlord watch in the first spot. I don't want to get proxied or have somebody do a gateway rush, so that's why that Overlord went over there first. Scouting that. Don't see anything. There goes the spawning pool. Alrighty. So as you can see, there's that first pylon he's got there. He's going to end up getting that gateway. There it is. And you can see the simulator tells me, hey, here comes some stalkers. So, got a scout there. Not particularly worried about the stalkers. Got my gas mining there. Little probe harassing, kind of monkeying with his stuff a little bit. But I am not going to go straight for any sort of defense. I'm going to focus on econ. Being this a large map and that natural expansion is just so easy to block off with. So my scout is coming back now. I'm going to get a hatchery with him. With stalkers, he may even come at me with a couple of zealots, but there's nothing that I won't be able to defend. Seeing him in the future catching a couple of lings and my queen will be out. So, and there's that Overlord. I'm going to send it over to the side there, focusing mostly on economy right now. And I haven't pulled those drones off of the harvesting too much. I got one drone still there. I think I pulled two off earlier because I wanted to make sure I got some cash flow going. But pretty soon I'm going to get those other drones back onto the gas again. Don't want to wait too long. So, alright, so got that queen getting the larva in there, and she's stretching her arms out a bit. Here's that second hatchery. So there we go. Got a couple of lings there, just some basic defensive units, and I'm probably going to do some scouting with him, you know. There it goes. So getting a little scouting with him. It's good to keep an eye on people here. There goes the evolution chamber, and if you notice where I put the evo chamber, it's to block off that left side. It's going to make it real hard for any sort of units to get in there, and my workers are not too interrupted. So if I get Spinecrawler or two on the bottom right area, it makes it easier for me to get that queen back in there and use Zerglings as kind of a post. So there's a quick scout, lots of gateways. You can see there's 4 gateways and a cybernetics core, which he totally can't afford to use all of that right now, even if he were to just go straight for a couple of those and just build zealots. He's not going to be able to support that along with all the pylons he needs. So I get a real nice scout on his base. I'm going to go in and do a little harassing with the lings that I have, but I noticed that there's not a lot of stalkers out yet. So he, again, if I had rushed him with a lot of Zerglings, probably could have taken him out. But it's nothing I'm particularly worried about. So there are some Zerglings. I'm going to get in there and take out some of his stalkers if I can. And there I go into the back. I'm going to kill off maybe a couple of probes. We'll see. There goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Go into the back. Try to take a couple more out while I can. Meanwhile, that is really just a harass. Take out a couple of his probes and make him have to build those back, which he'll end up doing there. He's got a pretty decent economy, which I noticed. That, again, nothing that I'm particularly worried about. Get that second watchtower there to keep an eye out for any sort of expansion he's got there. So he's outdoing me on the economy pretty well. However, I do have this second expansion, which is going to allow me to count that for a couple of drones as well. There goes that extractor. I think I remember on this one it not being the best game for me, making sure I keep people on that extractor, but I'm running that Zergling in, see a lot of stalkers there, so I'm like, alright, I gotta get some roaches, because they'll counter those stalkers pretty well. So, got another Overlord. I got quite a few Lings, which do well against the stalkers, not particularly fantastic, but as you see the creep tumor there, and I'm going to go ahead and get some spine crawlers here as well. So, there's the fail gas for me there, so I don't have them. There we go, so now they're finally on the gas. And that spine crawler, that creep tumor is going to let me get those spine crawlers right at the base. So that's what I was mentioning. It's such a nice natural expansion there. It's just right down from your main base. The only problem, of course, is the destructibles. But we get a spine crawler there. I'll end up moving them all up later. But there's another creep tumor at the bottom. I need to get a scout in his base, and I haven't seen exactly what's there, but I do see a lot of red dots. So got those control groups set up. I am going to move those spine crawlers down here in just a minute. Getting a couple more. I should get a couple more drones up there. I'm really not even fully mining that or my other one, you know, not doing too well. I want to make sure I got a decent army and good defense before I start pumping out the econ. Probably would have been a better idea to pump out the econ a little earlier, but worse things have happened, so. There we go. Going to get another spine crawl and move this one up while I have a chance. Start moving that creep tumor over towards the bottom, and then I'll probably move that creep tumor over to the right because I got that other creep tumor over on the left. So there we go. Giving me that additional movement speed and all the goodies that come along with Zerg units on their own creep, or on creep in general. So I see that he's still in there, but he is going to be coming out soon. So I've got to get a couple more units, and I really want to start pumping out some drones, but I'm just worried about the massive stalkers he's going to have in the first place. I know that he doesn't have an expansion yet, so I'm not worried about a secondary attack. However, I do need to get a scout on his base to make sure that I have the units when needed. So going to move up a couple of my spine crawlers here. I thought about getting him behind the gas, and then I'm like, you know what? If he ends up coming through that steam, I'm just going to have a worse time. I pumped out quite a few drones there. I probably pumped out 8 or 9 to make sure that I get the harvesting there. Get an Overseer 2-3. Got some extra gas. I figure, hey, I'll go in and stop some of his unit-producing structures. If nothing else, it gives me a lot of changelings and stuff too. So there we go, getting a spore crawler, a spore launcher in the back there for some air defense. I don't have a lot of air yet, so need to keep an eye on it. He hasn't attacked yet, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be some sort of either air, less likely with all those gateways, or he's got some type of mass force he's starting to get. Wish his coffee'd kick in. Stalker's still sitting there. So first thing pops into my head, okay, I've got to get some infestors because I am definitely going to see some colossi here. So I'm going to try to get this Overseer into the back, and you'll see that I'm going to run him across the base. Try to get the best scout that I can there. Don't have anything, there we go, don't have anything on that one, and I'm going to start getting that extractor now too. I really need to start pumping into some drones, and I'll probably start doing that in the future here very soon. There's a good scout on his base. As you can see, he's got some cannons there and some other units. I'm probably not going to get that guy out. Nope, there he goes, which is fine. I did get a pretty decent scout on his base. Notice that he's got a couple of units, some cannons defending the back, so mutas are not going to be the best idea. Alright, now I got those units in there. I'm going to move that spore crawler over slightly. Now you'll notice that the drones are moving a little around him, but that's not too huge of a hassle. So that's going to be the infestor pit, which I want against some of those other units, and I'm going to need to start getting some drones out of here soon because I'm still not getting full mining on either of these. One of the reasons that I don't have the larger army at this point, but against this opponent, you know, with the way that I play relatively passively, I wanted to make sure I had a good defensive force, something good to block him in, because I figured I'd just outlast him. I had that expansion early, and he did not. And so I'm going to get the creep tumors moving across here and get an Overseer down here.